So there we go. Okay, so you should have those on your phones, and if anybody else needs photos, let me know. All right. So you can see that I paint it pretty impressionistically, and this might not have been the exact same photo that I used here, so we'll just deal with this one. I think. Sometimes I make it up as I go. So the only problem with this one is here there's maybe that's why I put a telephone pole here, just to kind of help balance out the scene a little bit. Or what I could do is, just because it looks a little bit off balance, I could raise up this building. No one's gonna know that I've changed it a little and given it a little more height, so there's not such a big discrepancy between the two sides. I think in the other case what I probably did was, yeah, I exaggerated that, or zoomed in maybe, and changed that up a little bit. So, okay. Ooh, lots more people here now. Okay, hi Irene. Sunshine. And Terry, hello. And that must be Laura. Hello. And oh no, that's Anne. I've got to remember who's who here with all the different names on there. All right. So, opening up my sketchbook, and what I would do first is try to just get a rough sketch of this scene, and I would do a thumbnail like this. In the portrait, you know, layout. So long and tall, like this. And then I would just look over at my sketch. And one thing you can do, a lot of people ask me, how do you get it loose? How do you make the painting loose? Well, what you can do is just take your pencil and do a contour drawing of the large shapes. Kind of a rough contour drawing where you're not really, the first thing I generally do is find the horizon line. So that's up here somewhere. And that's where the street is meeting, the land is meeting the street. So that's my horizon line there. And then everything above is hills and sky, and everything below is the street and people walking. So it's really easy then, once you have that mark, that landmark of where that is to start drawing the rest of your painting. So put in your horizon line. And then you'll notice that these buildings come off this way, and then there's people here. Now, I can eliminate them right out of there. They're not too important, and they're kind of a distraction off to the side there. I don't care about them. So I may just bring the street like that and bring the buildings down a little more. So that's the thing when you're looking at a photograph, is you can change it to make it, simplify it and make it easier to work with. And you should, because there's unnecessary details are going to be a trap for you. So let's knock those people out. And then, so our little, we'll bring the street down like that. We could turn it if we wanted to a little bit there, but it doesn't really matter. And then you can just indicate some lines here for your buildings. And also on the other side, the street, the perspective line goes straight back like that to the horizon line, which is about right at, well, it's about right there where that, in the middle of that lady. See the parallel lines here? These are your perspective lines meeting down there at the horizon. So those are really important keys to how you form your drawing. And then you can put them in your scene like that. And and then start building it up from there. Now back in here, I noticed there's a couple little buildings that are kind of cute. And a window. Now I don't want to get all trapped up in small things right now. So just do this like a little contour drawing where you're just roughly feeling around and sketching, not even really paying too much attention to the details of what's going on. Just get a rough feeling. I feel like this shape actually should be over here a little bit more, where this tile is. And then maybe another one there. And then that funky thing coming out there. And there's another one here that's perspective line. Now look at these perspective lines. So it's going like this. It's slightly tilted. See, this is straight across. This is tilted slightly. This is tilted a little more. And what's happening is eventually they're pointing down to the foreground here, to your horizon line. So see this line here, and this is tilted a little. This one's tilted a little more, and this one is not straight across. It's tilted, slanted slightly. So there we have those. Some people even exaggerate those perspective lines to give the painting a more dynamic feeling. So don't worry about the miscellaneous junk. We're just going around kind of outlining the main shapes. And I'm not going to have, the way I'm drawing this, a little bigger. We may not have room for, that's pretty good like that, I guess. I need to watch my space because this building, this thing comes like that and then down towards the foreground. And I'll have to remember that hanging down here are some lanterns and lights. I'm just going to put them in lightly because I'm not sure that's going to be the final. Okay, so over on this side, to balance it out, we'll have, remember this rooftop we're going to raise up. And we'll give it that classic Chinese funkiness there, the architecture. And then it comes around like this. There's another roof there, and I'm just doing like a kind of like a blind contour just to get the feel of what I'm working with. Now back in the distance here, there's a balcony off of this building. Oh, you want to see the, oh yeah. Here, sorry. Sorry, Irene. Let me get, or Kathleen. Thanks for reminding me about that. Am I zoomed in enough? I can zoom in more. I'm thinking, hola. I'm thinking, here, we don't need to see my palette right now, so I'll just really zoom in on the drawing. And this is a little thumbnail sketch, so these should be done quick with not a lot of worry about what they are. This is all in shadow under here. You know, I'm thinking that it's so much better for you guys if my desk is not tilted, because it does distort a little bit. I should fix my camera so it's not quite as distorted. Constantly trying to tweak the studio to make it better. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. Okay, so there's like a balcony back here on this deck. There's like a light pole. And the power lines are coming through. I'm not sure if I'm going to put those in or not. I usually do because I like the way they look. But and back here is a mountain. Actually, maybe it should come down a little bit lower like that. I'm going to grab a bigger pencil so I can, if I can find one. Well, maybe I'll just grab my value markers. Not those. Some of you have seen the value markers before. They can help you plan out your painting. Oops, running out of space over there. Because you can kind of figure out in advance with your values where your light, mediums, and darks need to go. And if you squint at the picture real hard, you'll notice kind of your darkest darks are, you know, right around these dark roofs. And so maybe this focal point will be the people walking back to this thing, and it'll be mostly a mid-value painting with a few darks and a lot of lights. So I want to get some of these dark roofs in. Is that this one or this one? I think this one's darker. Yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of give these dark roofs a little bit of attention. And this one here, Kind of is an interesting part of that building. Okay. Then we have the balcony. We've got another little rooftop coming down here. And I've completely eliminated one of those things. I guess I could create another roof there, which is actually taller. And then these are dark over here. This is all dark. And we have our building coming down with and okay, so there's a window there. We've got kind of a dark shape there. We've got some doorways. And then back here, there's a couple different rooftops. I don't know if we need them all because it might just look a little bit confusing, but maybe so. Okay, that'll go off down that way. So this is all mid-value, kind of mid to light value really. And we have a hillside in the background there and the outline of some other distant buildings. And then this building is dark here. So if we just start blocking in these values, we can start getting an idea of where we're going with the painting. There's some reflections on the street, and so there'll be some light areas and dark areas where all this stuff is kind of reflecting in there. And let's see, back here is just kind of miscellaneous. There's more houses and stuff back there, so maybe I'll just give the shape of a rooftop and just let that kind of be mysterious back there. All right, should we put in, and then I want to go back to my middle gray here. Oops, that looks very dark. That wasn't middle gray. To indicate like a doorway or whatever here. You know, it's going in. So this gives you kind of a roadmap for where you want your darks and lights. And our sky is not the lightest thing in the picture. So that needs to come down with a value too. And so what we're looking at is and this here, this has darkness. So it's taking us, the tones should take us right down to this area of our center of interest, which is maybe the light down here on these buildings. And if you're going to have your center of interest down into here, you're going to have something interesting to put there to make it interesting for the viewer. You know, he's going to ask, why are you taking me there if there's nothing there that's interesting? Well, this is where our lanterns can come in, for one thing. So we can emphasize those coming down. And those yellows will come right down over this white shape, and so they'll really stand out. And then on top of that, you can put some people in here. And then, you know, kind of populate the scene. So does that give everybody kind of an idea of how to plan out a painting with a value sketch? It should. It should maybe be helpful. And if you want to make your sketchbook look pretty, you can add a nice little marker around it. Anne says yes. Yes, ma'am. That's helping. So that's how you take a photograph. And now, not just any photograph is going to work, because you have to think about your composition. And nothing's going to help a bad composition, but you can help a bad photograph by changing the composition to make it work. Now you can see well, maybe you can't see very clearly here, but as I add a few details to these Chinese lanterns, they become more interesting. And also, you know, the people would become more interesting too if I put a few details on them. And the windows and the roof. And so why do you do this? Well, you do it so that you take care of the planning stages here in your artwork, and then when you get to do the real painting, you can be free and loose. And people are always asking, how can I paint looser? Well, loosen up your drawing, and now maybe we will put if we want to, we can put a telephone pole, whatever, electrical pole in here. And there is one I'll show you. There is one right here. Oops. See that? The thing is it's not positioned very well. It doesn't show up. And so you can raise it up taller or lower, make it work with your subject. You know, just like here, I raised the roof so that the composition would be more balanced. Nobody's going to look. Nobody's going to say, oh my God, that roof's not that tall. It really isn't. No one's going to know. And it creates a better painting that way. And so your little value sketch, and those value markers that I use are, where did I just put them? You can get a set at the art store. They actually make such a thing, a value marker set. Now these are just Tombow markers that I bought individually. They have all different colors, but I'm using number 45, 65, and 89 for these three colors. So as long as you get a light, a medium, and a dark, these can help make your value sketch. And then, of course, I love these micron markers with the archival ink. And I like this is a 05, number 05, but I have all different numbers because I like them. And I like here's an 01, I have an 03. So let me show you the different marks. Here's a 1, just a really skinny line. And then here's the 3. And this is the number 5. It's fatter and, you know, darker. So you can sketch in, then you can look at your sketch and pick out the details that you like for your painting to make some interesting shapes. Like, I wouldn't make too many details outside of your center of interest, the focal area, but you can if you need. Like up here is this balcony if you wanted to highlight that. That's somewhere where you'd use your, you know, your liner brush to make some interesting marks there. On this power line, it has these little knobbies, and then the lines come through and they go into the distance like that. And up here, there's just some Chinese brick. And there's like a little kind of an entrance thing there. I don't really want to worry about it. This maybe we'll make into a round doorway. And everything should take you over here to the action, maybe where those guys are. Hello, Apprentice One. I'm very well. How are you, Paulina? That is Paulina, right? Yes, I'm doing great. So let's take a breather here for a second. Paulina is in Poland, and we have my sister today and her friend in Phoenix. We have my aunt and my cousin in Palm Desert, and now we have Paulina, who is in Poland. And I'm not sure, did I miss anyone? Who else is here? Anyway, so welcome everybody, and how is everyone's weekend going? We're having the hottest day here in Raleigh. It is supposed to be up to 96 degrees today and humid. So I'm going to fill up my glass with another beverage, and I will be right back at you. And we're up to 89 subscribers. Woohoo! So if you haven't, hi IFAT, how are you? Oh, nice. Love the way you make your people. Oh, good, okay. Hi Fit, I'm glad you could join us. I know you were asking me about beginning watercolor, and I did a class. Hey El Curry. Oh hey, DJ's here too. My top fan. You absolutely are, DJ, my very top fan. You knew me way back when, a year ago when I started on Twitch. So yes, everybody. Woohoo! IFAT, I did, so yesterday I had 2 students and I did a Zoom class, Watercolor 101, which I think is really helpful for anybody that has never done watercolor before. And I'm going to do another one next Saturday. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, let me know. I did it on Zoom, so you'll have to have a Zoom account. I think that works really well because we can all communicate. And the other thing I can do is probably, let's just try to do it on Zoom. Okay. So, all right, let me get another drink. This one is gone, and I'll be back in 1 minute. And if you want, what you can do is take your value sketches. Yeah, IFAT really. So you can take your value sketches now and draw out just a basic outline of this on watercolor paper, and then we'll start painting it. So, or if you just want to paint this as a value sketch, just using one color in watercolor, you can do that to make it easier. DJ. Okay. Okay, wait 1 more second. I have to get something to show you. Something fell. Oh, it looks like it was just, it made a loud noise. We grew all these in our garden. Look at these red hot chili peppers. Irene, I thought you'd get a kick out of this because, you know, Grandpa had such a huge garden and he grew everything. But look at this heirloom tomato. And this one, it's not ripe yet. It's kind of blotchy to start. But I know, aren't they crazy? And you should see the eggplants. Oh my God, it's another story. Now let me see, what did I miss? Oh, wait a minute. Is it someone's birthday? I have to go way back here. Okay. My top fan's here. You're all great. DJ. Tom is innocent. Okay. DJ has so many names. Sometimes we call him Tom. We called him Tom for a long time until we knew his real name wasn't Tom. It's Dejanje or something. I can't say it. Hi, Purple Carrot. Time for more tequila. It's just club soda. When Joe gets home, he'll make me actually, I don't know if I'll have a spritzer today. Was it Paulina's birthday? You have all acrylic paint tubes. Okay. Well, I paint in acrylic too, but not on Sundays. Paulina, how old are you? Happy birthday. Is it really your birthday? You got a nice sketchbook for your birthday? Yay! We do need an online celebration. I wish I could sing, but I can't sing. Terry can sing. Terry, why don't you sing happy birthday? I could invite you to share the screen, but I don't know how to do that on YouTube Live. So we'll just have to do a pretend happy birthday song, right? Oh, it was your birthday a week ago and you still talk about it. Okay. All right. Yes. All my watercolor peeps here. Okay, should we try to paint this painting now? Let me sketch it on watercolor paper. And so here is the value study. I guess it's okay. You're only 24, Paulina? Oh my gosh, you're a baby. You're just a baby. And you're so accomplished. Running around New York City all by yourself on your big project from work. Oh my gosh. Okay, now, paper. Where did I put my paper? Here it is. Okay, so I also thought I would give you guys a couple of ideas of things you can do with cityscapes to make them. Maybe I should show them this way to show you how you can make some expressive paintings with, and here's one. This is an alley with dumpsters. So remember we talked about lost and found edges? Dry brush marks, big shapes. Those are things you want to think about when you're painting. So this should give you some fuel for your painting, some ideas. Just to get you in the loose thinking mood. I'm singing for you. Please imagine it will be better than the reality. Oh my gosh. You guys are hysterical. Okay. I can't sing. All right, so here we go. I'm going to put up this other board to make my desk even taller. And kind of getting a lot of shadow in here right now. Let's see if I can get my camera on here. Let's see. Move this around a little bit. Sorry for the camera moving, I'm not happy with the way it's looking on there. I'm going to pull it away. I don't know. Maybe we'll leave it like that. Okay, so I'm going to tape this down. It really is not quite tall enough. I'll move that over there. My new table's a little bit different to get used to. The paint area is really tilted. I know. I'm just trying to get, yeah, I'll fix it. I think I can get it more. Need to raise this up a little more. Hold on. Let's see how it goes when I paint. I know. See, I have a desk that's really tall, and then the board makes it even taller. And the sun's coming in, so I need to close my little shade. Maybe that'll be better. Does that look better, Terry? It's a tiny bit crooked. So I'm going to tape this off up here. Okay, good. I hope it looks better. See, the board needs to be tilted because you want your wash to wash down the page, especially your first wash generally in the beginning. But, you know, I would have it even more tilted than this at the beginning of the painting, but then you wouldn't be able to see it well. And I could paint it on my other easel, but I'm not going to do that because you get such a good view this way, I think. My other easel is here behind me, and we did that the other day on Twitch. It worked out pretty well, but we'll see. Okay, now we want to look at our value sketch and sketch out the contours again. Oh, I should have moved this over a little more. Oh well, it's okay. All right, so coming off this corner, I'm going to have, remember, put your horizon line in. And then oh, that was probably my phone that fell over. Oh, there it is. All right, so, oh, I didn't show you my tattoo either today. That's the new tattoo for Sunday. Isn't it pretty? Okay, all right, enough screwing around. Okay, so we want to get our horizon line in, and then remember how the buildings kind of just, the street kind of came around that way, and then the perspective over here off this side. So it's pretty traditional with that. And then I guess I would start over here with these shapes, and then these little slat guys, and then like this. This line is more like that. Where do I get these tattoos? I just order them on Amazon. So if you just Google tattoos. Oh, there's Joe. Yeah, I order them from Amazon. Where's my eraser? Oh well, I wanted to get rid of that line. Oh well, we'll just... And then this comes down like that. I'm gonna put in... Let's do the other side here. Let's get these other roof shapes in. It's hot out there, huh?
Hot pots.
Oh, pots. He bought me some pots for some, I'm transplanting, I'm rooting out some tomatoes. So I took the clipping of the shoots that come out, you know, in the middle of the, they're called, the ones you take out of the middle of the stem. What are they called? There's a name for them. Anyway, you cut those, and then those make good ones for transplanting, for rooting. And so you stick them in a jar of water for a couple of weeks, and then the roots start to grow. Suckers, they're called suckers. And so then you get, let's see, then you get free tomato plants, and those are the ones that I'm going to put in for fall. So there's like a rooftop there and one here, and that window. Let me see how this looks. Maybe that should have been a little bigger. This should have maybe come out a little bit more. Yeah, that's about right. And then we want a few Chinese lanterns in here. And just maybe something like that. And the buildings continue to go out and down there. And this, of course, here comes forward. And this building down here has kind of a tile roof. So I'm just going to make some marks there to suggest that, and then have it kind of go off there into the distance. And this one, maybe there. It's supposed to be a very rough sketch, so I know it's kind of hard, but I'm working on these area of these roofs right here, back here, and so I'll put this window in and those roof lines, and there's even like a building way back there, and that roof line is going down behind, could be there, whatever. All right, and they actually go all the way back, and there's maybe a window there or whatever, as you can see right there. So put them where you need to put them. They don't always necessarily have to go where they're going to go. And then over here, let's finish off doing this side. So about here maybe is that little balcony, and the building comes down. There's also a rooftop in here in front of this with a nice dark window shape there, and then we have another roof top here with the side of the building coming down, and the roof goes like that. As you can see, the perspective lines on the roof are pointing this way, so you can make a slight indication of that. And here there's also a dark window, and you can just do that. And yeah, anywhere there's a dark shape, I mean, you can put a little bit of pencil mark on there. It's not going to destroy anything. You're just trying to find a way to give yourself a path for when you paint it, so you have an idea of where things go. Now this, I'm not doing this exactly like the photo, but technically this building is all one there, but I'm making it this one in front of this one, and these are dark roofs, and maybe I'll make this one go like that too, and then the balcony, let's jazz it up with a couple little flourishes there. And then, okay, so there's that building right there with that slanted roof. This is kind of a complicated a little bit of a complicated scene, but I think if you try it, don't expect it to turn out perfectly, but try to get in the habit of looking for, finding your horizon line, where the land meets the sky, or looking straight ahead of you at your eye level. That can be your horizon line. And, then you can base everything off of that. And maybe there's a couple people there. And maybe we'll even put, let's see, let me get the rest of this side of these little roofs and things in here. There's this is just not important stuff, okay? It's just, you don't need any details there. And let's put one guy over here who's maybe a little bigger. Now, some of you people that are new to painting and drawing, we'll have to talk about putting figures in. You can just leave them out if it's, if it's too hard. I just want you to get the general shapes of the big buildings and the contours, just like your value sketch. That's all you have to worry about. And then here there's some reflections coming off of these people, and then the street, of course, has a few reflections in it. Maybe we'll make that a curb. And so Irene, how's it going out there? How are you doing? I know you're having lots of trouble with your shoulder, and we need to get you. And then I guess Kathleen said that they're having a lot of problems out there with the crowding at the hospital from coronavirus. Is that right? That's not good. My shapes back here are not very... Okay. Wow, this is a detailed sketch. It kind of is, isn't it? I'm putting in a few details. And only to remind me where these rooftops are, because those are going to be dark. And the windows, of course. And it has a lot of, the main shapes are here, these big shapes. But because there's all these little accoutrements here, I'm sort of drawing them into the scene. And the thing is sometimes those little drawn parts, those little details, you don't really have to paint too much when you have those in. Like I'm very little girl playing something really cool, like playing dollhouse and having lots of fun. Oh, well, it is kind of that way, isn't it? When you're doing a drawing, it's like, oh, there's a little roof and there's a person, and well, you are setting up the scene. You're setting up the scene. And what I'll do right now is I'll take a picture of this and I'll put it on our Facebook group so that if somebody wants to try it, they can. The drawing. And I can send this drawing to you Instagrammers. Here, why don't I send it to... Oh, Carly. Got a message from Carly. We're driving back from a camping trip. Okay. Okay, I was asking Carly about some Zoom questions. So, okay, I need to send, we'll send this photo to IFAT and Tommaso and oops. Who else wants one? Tong, are you there? Lin Ji, I think. Lin Shi. I don't know how to say her name, but Tong has a nickname of lotus, little lotus seed, I think. I don't know if she's here today, but I think she might appreciate the photo, so we'll send that to her, the sketch. And let's see, what about Anne? Are you on Instagram? Paulina. I forgot Paulina. How could I forget Paulina? There we go. Okay. And then Terry and Ann are easy because I can do them like this. Send that off. And Kathleen is easy, so I can send her just like that. Okay. So we've got the, I have to turn my fan on. Whew. Oh, it's not plugged in. Okay. It's really hot outside. It's hot. My studio gets the most, like it's always the last room, the last vent of the house to get the heat and the air conditioning. So it's either hot or cold in here. Okay. All right. Well, I think it's time to start painting. And so, let me move this over a little more. I should have. Do you all want to see my palette down here? You probably do. To see how I pick up the paint and which paint I mix and which paint I pick up. Amgar 13. Oh, okay. Amgar 13, I will add you. Everybody has a secret name, right? And we can use our names, whatever names we want. We don't have to use our real names. Whoops. Let me know, Miss Amgar, if you get this. Otherwise, somebody's going to get this and go, what are all these Chinese pictures? Okay. All right. So I was going to move this over so that we can see it better. So that you can see the sketch at the same time. I mean the photograph at the same time. So I'm just picking up my whole painting tape and all, and I'm gonna just reposition it on my page. Because my painting right now is taped down onto a piece of paper, and then I use this this cellophane-y stuff. It's like a plastic, and I use that over my drafting surface so it doesn't get filthy. And I'll tell you what what that is. It's just I should get a big piece of plastic to put over it that I can wash off, a laminate thing, but I don't have a big piece, so this is just it's called Duralar. And I guess it's called high performance polyester film for drawing, drafting, and stencil making and mixed media artwork. So it looks like this. It just looks like a cloudy sheet of plastic. And I guess if I put it over this drawing, I could sketch this whole thing out and then have a copy of it on here to use to, make a transparency, to make a copy that I could put graphite paper behind it and then trace it onto another page if I wanted, but anyway. Okay, well, let's start painting. Let's get some brushes wet here. And so now we need to think about limiting our palette and using what colors we're going to use. So in this, I would recommend to go to our standard yellow ochre, ultramarine, burnt sienna, and cerulean blue, and try to limit it as much as we can. I do like the little pops of cobalt that are in the clothing and this, whatever that is, painted on the side of that building. But if you squint at it in general, I mean, it's mostly grays and browns and then this huge pop of yellow, which we can even change that to red if we want. We can make it any color we want. Hey, Caroline! Yes, it is kind of like the pages for the disposable mixing palettes. Yeah. It's like super smooth. It's really nice. Caroline, how are you? Caroline was one of the ladies that went to Italy with us, and with our painting group. So it's good to see you here. Caroline and her sister went together, and we had a lot of fun. I hung out with them because they rented the car, and I got to ride with them. Yeah. I don't like driving in Italy. It kind of freaks me out because I don't know where I'm going, and they're a little bit crazy. I mean, and you always get turned around because the streets sometimes go in circles, and they're old and they're narrow, and oh my gosh, we got really messed up on the way to a painting venue that we were going to that was in Fiesole, and literally the road was so narrow that you had to like pull the mirrors of the car in and inch through like a mouse. I mean, Okay, good. Yeah. I'm not that great at navigating, but I did okay. I helped a little bit. I could at least read the signs. Not that I always knew what they meant. Okay. So, next week we'll have to paint a painting of Italy. In fact, Caroline, I did a sketch of you guys in my sketchbook. I want to show you if I can find it. Not sure if it's in this one or not. These are some Italian sketches I've been working on. Remember we did this value study a while back. But let me see if I can find my... I don't think it's in this sketchbook. I think it's in a different one. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in a different one. Because I remember the paper being different. But I'll show you. Here's some of my other Italian little thumbnail sketches that I did. And all you new people, Terry and Anne and IFAT, you should be drawing out little squares like this and getting your pictures together, your reference photos, and doing little studies in your sketchbooks. Let's see. It's in an older sketchbook, I think. Oh, I really want to find it because I want to show you. Maybe it's in here. Let me see. Yeah, this is the one, I think. Hey there. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, I didn't draw you guys yet. My intention is to draw you guys, but this is not you two. But this was at the market day. But I do have your photo, though, in my lineup, so my plan is to do that. Let's see if I can find it. You know what? I'll post it on Facebook later so you can see it, Caroline, because we'll try to paint it one of these days. But I won't look for it now because I know some of you, it's very late at night and you want to get through the painting. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I need a little bit of... I'm thinking about, Caroline lives down even further south than me. Oh, it makes you homesick. Yeah, Italy. It's like 96 degrees today in Raleigh with humidity. I can only imagine down in Georgia what it's like. So, all right, so we want to take a nice little mop brusher. I'm going to use this little one. And we're going to do this guy here with a little bit of cerulean blue, I think. I like the cerulean blue. Oh, you know what? I never put in the this distant hillside shape. So I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to just plop in a little bit of I've been having pretty good luck by pre-wetting some of the sky first. So I'll just take another mop here. And maybe I'll just get a little bit of this wet like that first. And we'll just go into it like this and kind of imagine we're painting around some white fluffy clouds. And I'll grab a little bit of cobalt blue to slap in here and there. In general, we probably don't want the sky with too much going on, because that's not where our focus is. So we'll just soften up a little bit and maybe add a tiny bit of warmth here and there to that. But, with a little bit of yellow ochre, I think. I've already broken one of the rules here. My brush was a little bit too wet, so I may get a kind of a little bit of a cauliflower there. That's okay. All right, and then I'm going to go right into, with a little bit of yellow ochre, right into this hillside and try to knock it in right away with a little cobalt and try to gray it down a little bit. It's in the background there, so I'm just going to put it in pretty wet, and I don't mind if it gets fuzzy up there along with the sky. It just doesn't matter. And back here, maybe we'll just pretend that it comes all the way down to about there. And so I have to paint around these other things kind of carefully. That's pretty good. And maybe we'll even do right there. Now I need to also put that green behind this balcony, so we'll plop that in before we forget about it. I think a lot of times you'll forget that it's like, oops, that should have grass behind it or sky and I missed it or whatever. And then you got to figure out how to change it out. Okay, so going on to these roofs then. I know we all can't travel right now, right? So we're all kind of stuck at home. I think I didn't get that value dark enough there, but it's going to dry lighter, and I think it should be a little bit darker according to our value sketch, especially if you look at the photograph. See how much darker the photograph is than this? But I don't really want to add more, well, to that right now, because it's wet, but it's not, it's just barely damp, and that could be, well, I don't really want to have to come back and add more to it later either, but let's see what happens if I try to stick it in there anyway. A little bit more. This could be a disaster, but we'll just go with it. So I'm just using a little bit of ultramarine blue, and maybe I'll add a little bit of yellow ochre. I just want it to be a little bit darker value. Ultramarine, yellow ochre, not too much yellow ochre. Maybe a little bit of lemon yellow. I just want a green, but I want it darker, so I added in some of that blue. Little ultramarine, cobalt, whatever. All right, well, we'll see what happens with that. Maybe it'll be okay, since it was still damp. gonna get, we'll see. Okay, anyway, well, let's go on and do our washes on these buildings. So they're gonna be a mid to light value, according to our value plan. So we're going to use ultramarine and a little burnt sienna to make a nice gray, maybe more on the warm side, so a little more burnt sienna then. And actually where the rooftop is, I can make that really dark right there. And while I'm at it, I can go in and do a couple little details there to make it look like the Chinese shape that is in the photo. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this. A little bit of the yellow, the warm yellow in my palette to just do a hint of what's going on underneath that. But I'm going to just do it rough and kind of light to begin with, because I don't want that to be the main focus there. In fact, I do kind of want to just blurry that out a little. And down here when we get into the Chinese lantern, maybe that'll have a little more jazz in there. Okay, so back to our building here. So we're going to just come down and I'm going to vary it a little by adding a little ultramarine there. And we have this side of the building here is real light. So I'm just going to roughly use the side of my brush and just drag it so I get some of those scruffy edges. And a few of them I'll leave and a few of them I'll wash away. And I just want to put those in like that. And then back here, maybe there was a little hint of that blue on this building. Just, that's it. I don't want any more. Just a tiny touch. And I want to just get those lanterns just a little bit in there. It's almost too early to start doing these kind of shapes, but this bright color in here. But the thing is while this is wet, I want it to bleed a little bit and soften up. So if I don't put it in now and I put it in later, it'll look cut out. So that's why I'm adding just a little bit of local color to these lanterns. All right. And then also I notice on the side of the building here, in our photo, we have a few little I can put them in later with dry brush. There's just a few little detail things. Okay, never mind. How's everybody doing? So far, that's not too bad, right? Not too hard? All right. Well, let's keep going. And let's start getting the other side of this building in. I guess I can put my value sketch away there for a minute. So a little burnt sienna, a little ultramarine. I'm just going to try to get this rooftop in. I wish I had a little bit of Quin Gold on my palette. I guess I can just use yellow ochre here. I feel like I just want to vary or maybe I could use a little red with the burnt sienna to vary the color in this rooftop. And I kind of like the red in there, sort of. We'll see how it looks. And then we just need to gray it down, because on this side it's even more gray than the other side of the page. I guess we'll make this more of a warm gray in here. And back to this darker roof right here. And up here where there's some details, I'm just using the tip of my brush to kind of pop those in. And I'm adding a little bit more dark, and what I picked up with my brush was a little bit of that leftover Payne's gray that was in my palette. So some of you may have Payne's gray, some of you may have neutral tint, some of you may just use burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, which is fine. Whatever dark gives you that nice dark roof color. Okay, so we have another interesting little roof shape here. And this one has some hints of blue-gray that you can, kind of like a blue-gray that you can see. I don't know if I can suggest that well enough, but maybe I'll try. And this one has a nice sort of a little window there that comes down, and then we've got, just gonna touch this with our brush and just pull it down. This roof over here has a shadow under it as well. I can put that in. And also it comes across this way, and there, and here, and there, and there. So get them in there quickly. Don't dawdle. Okay. How's everybody doing? The number one rule is don't make a boring painting. So if you're going to have to make some brush strokes that add some excitement to the work. And the best way to do that is to be familiar with your value sketch and what you want to accomplish in your painting. I just want a little bit of this color there because I see it in my Now I'm just plopping in windows and any other little details that I see with thick paint, pretty thick paint. But nothing too I'm trying to keep it loose, in other words. And here I'm doing some little, as long as I have this brown on my brush, I'll just do a few tiny little details on this shade cover thing. Not too much there. And I should stylize these lanterns a little bit better than I have, but it is, I don't want to take all day. I just want to get you painting. Okay, so here there's another, some kind of, I don't know what that is, something under the shade structure that's dark right there. And I'm just going to roughly put in some dark shapes to suggest that thing, even though I have no clue what it is, and I really don't care. It's just a dark shape, so it'll just go in like that. And I'll use a little red, and it's like a cad red light mixed with burnt sienna to make kind of a rusty color to just plop in there. And that red will kind of pick up the red down here for a little, if you have it in one part of your painting, you can add it to another part to make it seem harmonious, cohesive. I don't know what kind of word you want to use, but use whatever term you want. And I may even put a couple little red shades there. Okay, unity in design maybe. And then along this wall there were a few little, ooh, that's got a little too dark. There were a few little, there's like baskets, honestly. So there's like a it's not really necessary I put this in, but there's a doorway here, right under here, and I think I'll put it there because along the doorway are kind of like this decoration of these baskets, and so I may just put just a few shapes like that to suggest those. And then we need to get into the foreground and finish it off. Okay, DJ, thanks for joining us. Yeah, I know it's late for you guys. I'll send you the finished painting, DJ. Hopefully you'll like it, and you can try one like this for yourself. And Paulina, I don't know if you're still here too, but I know it's late for you also. So, okay. Well, let's go ahead and get our street in here, and that is just a gray. So I feel like I want it to be a little bit warmer gray, maybe. So I just picked up a little yellow ochre, and actually that cobalt blue. I'm just going to put this in, and I'm going to add some. I should have maybe used ultramarine to begin with because I think I want it to be more blue, not as warm. So I'm just dragging this along, and then I'll do the people afterwards and put them on top. So if I look at my reference here, our some of these areas are darker than others, especially right here, but we'll get the main wash in first. And I'm using this small number 10 brush, but you could use a mop to just put that whole thing in, but since this painting is very small, I can get away with using this number 10 brush. And just soften that edge right there a little bit. And then I'm going to work on these people. So let's go ahead and put well, let's see, what do I want to use for their heads? I guess we'll just start with kind of a medium something like that. Maybe this guy here. And we can use a tiny bit of a reddish color to give him a little bit of his face there. Maybe this lady's looking that way. And then put some clothing on them, and like I said, I kind of like the little pops of blue, so maybe this lady will have bluish. Ooh, that's too blue. That's not going to work. We're going to tone it down with a little burnt sienna. And her friend, just let those bleed into the painting. Maybe this one will go a little more pinkish. And I'll just let the reflections come down. And this guy on the left, I'm going to I'm probably going to regret this, but I love this pink color in this lady's shirt. So I'm going to go for it and put a bright pink on this gentleman. And some khaki shorts here, maybe. And then as this dries off a little more, I'll get his legs in and the shadow. Getting a little bit of bleeding there, which is fine. Okay. And so I need a few more little details back on these buildings. They're too stark, and they have actually some Chinese bricks back there. So I'm going to use a rough edge of my brush to drag in some shadows. And actually, that should be a little bit less blue and more gray. So we'll drag in some shadows like that. And some brick shapes, things that look like bricks, maybe. I need a little more burnt sienna in there. I don't want it to look too blue. And there's more of a shadow under that. And then I can put the electrical pole in if I want to. There's a few little window shapes here, and miscellaneous stuff happening back there. So I'm just I'm making some random shapes, which is I'm picking up things from the photo, things that I can use as part of the design. And right here there's these shadows and puddles on the street because it just rained, so I can put those in like that. And this puddle is maybe reflecting that blue from this. It's kind of a bright blue to put in there, but there's the puddles. And then over here I can just put in some random. Now this is still a tiny bit damp, but that's okay. It can get fuzzy, and I'm good with that. And maybe a couple more little splashes. Oops, that's kind of way too, that's like right out of the tube blue. You don't really want that. You want it to be a mixed sort of color. And I don't need to do too much on this side of the painting, but I can just make a few random marks. And I see some shadows up here that I really didn't take care of. Oops, too blue. Knock that down with, there we go. And a little bit of dry brush. Have I put anyone to sleep yet? Is everybody still here? You're probably going, oh my gosh, why did she choose this horrible painting that has so much detail in it? We were supposed to simplify it to make it easy. Easier said than done, maybe? Okay. And this business here on top needs to go darker. So I'm just gonna imagine this roof, whatever this thing is up here, and put a little bit darker color on there. I'm not liking that blue either. It's not, it's gonna have to go darker. Maybe I'll make it like a more of a purplish. I'll add the colors that I have in the painting already, which is ultramarine and cad red, to give it the color that it should be. Shouldn't have that light blue like that sticking out. And then maybe on the edge of that I could use a blue highlight, but I didn't like it the way it was. And we'll darken up a few of these windows. And then, and this person, we'll darken this person up a little more. Some legs. And this guy here, I'm going to give him the little burnt sienna, a couple legs, and then the reflection. His reflection. Coming down like that, and we'll do the same with these other, just a little bit of ultramarine and cad red, a little bit more. The reflections in the picture are pretty diffused. You can barely see them, but you can see them. And this lady here. And then add details and you're done. A little extra color. Oh, Tong. Hi, Tong. Yes. Tong is my little lotus flower seed from, she lives south of London, and she's been out gardening too. Tong, you should have seen the tomatoes I showed earlier from my garden. I'm sure that was a treat for everybody to see my little tomatoes. Okay, so I haven't put in these power lines yet, and I guess I will just because I I didn't put him in this sketch, but I think I put him in my value sketch. Yeah. So here's the value sketch, and there's the power lines. And you can see that I went off into a flurry of details here, which I should even try to simplify this more. It's got a little bit too much going on, but that's okay. That's why we're doing Sketchbook Sunday every week, so we can get better. The more you do it, the more free and loose your paintings will become. So I think I'll make my power line pole here. I don't know that we really need it, but I think I'll put it in here. Kind of using, I'd like to use more of a softer blue-gray. We'll just plop it in like that. Maybe it's kind of backlit. Goes behind that guy. And we'll have a few little things there. You like it, Tong? This is from, yeah, this is from Shangro, the Shangro area in China. And I know that you're from, not Shanghai, but the other one. You're from Beijing. And so I don't know if you've ever visited Shangro, but Shangro is a beautiful area with this old village, and we got to go there and paint, you know, with our watercolor society, and it was really nice. Today I was in a Chinese mood, I guess, because on Twitch this last week I painted another Chinese scene, and so I don't know, I go on these spurts. You never know what I'm going to come up with on Sunday to paint. You just never know. But and also, Tong, if you go, I don't know if you're a member of our Facebook group, Sketchbook Sunday, but I did put the pictures on there as well, and so you can check out the photos, the other photos that I shared from this part of. Maybe I'll make this telephone pole a little darker so it kind of stands out against that white. That's a little trick you can do near your center of interest. You can put your darkest dark against your lightest light, and it should kind of take you into the painting there. And if this is my center of interest, I better have something interesting there for people to look at, right? So maybe I'll darken up some of these tones and make some dry brush marks to make it interesting. Just a little bit right there near the center of interest. I'm not really too happy with the way those two look right there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it though. And I can deepen. Oops, maybe that's a little too much. Okay, so let me put a little bit of detail on these. It's in Anhui province. Can you borrow our sunshine? Absolutely. It's 96 degrees and hot and sunny today and humid as well. I think this guy looks stiff, and so I'm going to try to just put a little water on him and see if I can't, like, no, I think I'm going to have to add a little some kind of something to him. Maybe a little lavender or something to just knock him, yeah. I just didn't like that ugly kind of, I don't know. It just looked too stiff there with that ultramarine and whatever. Tong, I have to show you. So this is Yang Shao. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But this was a great little, kind of it must be like a resort vacation village for Chinese people. And they lit up this little water feature, this little lake or pond or whatever. And then, of course, you've got these big mountains in the back that make it look very mystical. And the lights then, all these lights change. So right now it's looking kind of green and blue and pink. And then I have another photo where it's more green. That's kind of cool. Where did it go? Maybe I didn't print it. But, oh yeah, here. This one's more pink. So it was just magical at night with all the lights changing around, changing color, and we didn't have enough time to stay in this little village. It would have been nice. Please take some of the heat away. Oh my gosh, it's 113 in Phoenix. Wow. Anhui province. I don't know which province it's in though, but I can tell you we went there, and it's also near this village, Guanxi, I think it's pronounced. I think we also pronounced it Zhangxi. Oh, this one's in upside down. But so you can see the rooftops. See all these interesting little things on the roof? The architecture is fascinating to see those little things. And do you know Tong, or I would try to say your name. Is it Lan Shi? Lotus seed? I don't know how to say it. But anyway, we can call you Tong. Or maybe I'll just call you Lotus seed. Or would that not be right? Anyway, they have all these funky things. Here's he's like a little dragon or something there. And then they have a lot of roosters. I guess, do those represent the years, the different years? Or maybe the emperors? And here's Joe in Shangrao at our resort where we stayed. And boy, did it rain there. It poured. And this is in Guanxi, I guess. I don't know how you say it. But I've painted this scene a couple times. We got to plein air paint right there, so it was really nice. And I just set up my easel right there, and away we went. And then this is a black and white of, here, let me show you the full color one that we painted. This is also another village in Guanxi. Irene is Irene getting tired? Those little animals are presenting. Oh, they're representing something. Oh, do I say Lanji? Like a G? The XI is G? So, and then this is the same place, but it's close. It's got the people a little closer. And then This guy was walking down the street with his little cart. And this is Yangshao again. That's the little resort village that we were in. And this is the first place that had a pizza restaurant. So we went out for pizza there. And this is before the sun went down. This is the little lake with all the buildings lit up. And I thought this one would be fun to do, you guys, with gouache sometime. So Terry, with your gouache set, it would be fun to do that. And I have some basic gouache colors, so maybe we'll try to do that sometime. Oh, they're feng shui things for the little animals. Really? So like they keep your house safe and all that, the little things on the roof? They were everywhere on the historic buildings. And this is in Yangshao. This is the Starbucks there. Look at this. I wanted to paint this too today. I thought this would be fun. And this is the countryside that we saw driving up. And again, this here, there's all these greenhouses in this lush area. We were there in the end of June and part of July, so it was hot and humid, and there was a lot of lush countryside. And this is another photo from the resort that I've painted, but I thought maybe that'd be a good one to do a value sketch with, and also to show you how we can figure out a better design, because you couldn't really paint it that way with this big tree here. So there's a way to do it where you can move things around to make a better composition. And I liked this picture because of this crazy tree going across the sidewalk like that. But if we painted it that way, people would think we were nuts. Okay, well, there's our photo of Yangshao. Oh, and there's another little alley that I liked. Look at the roofs. And the tiles. That's fascinating. You can imagine walking by that and going, oh my God, look at those rooftops. And the tiles. You know, you see the tiles in Italy are terracotta. And I don't know what color these are, or if they're just so old that they've gotten black. But I would imagine there's some kind of terracotta, or maybe they're stone. I don't know. Or maybe they just use clay differently. The Lee River. Yes, we took a boat trip, and I have more photos of that. That was amazing, because those mountains are like the little Oompa Loompa mountains. Yes, that was a highlight of the trip for sure. It was Joe's favorite part of the trip. Speaking of Joe, I could use a spritzer about right now. Okay, so the painting's drying, and I'm seeing this. Not terribly happy with the way my peoples look again. And this could use a little more detail in these pots, the lanterns. So if I go to the lanterns and look at it for a little bit of detail, I see the Chinese letters. And it might be nice to put a little indication of that. So if you take some thick paint on your brush, really dry brush, and maybe I can make something that looks like a Chinese calligraphy on there. Maybe on this one. Forgive me, Yanji, if I write something that looks bad or sounds bad or whatever. And maybe just a little speck there. And then, you know, at the end of your painting, those little details can make all the difference in what your painting ends up looking like. And what else do I want to do here? I guess I should just finish it and add just a little bit more of those stones, bricks, and what have you here. They continue all over the painting. You don't have to do every brick, but you might want to just indicate a few of them. And I'm trying to find something to tie this together here. There's probably another doorway here with Kathleen and Irene. I imagine you guys are done. Okay, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the painting. Who was that? Oh, is that Annie? Okay. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, and try it yourself, Anne. You have the materials, I think, and the skills, so I'm going to put my little birds here in the sky. And we can keep adding details until we're satisfied that it has enough going on to keep us interested. Just a little bit more detail on this guy. And let's take the tape off and see what it looks like. I think could probably go a little bit darker here on this wall with a little more. But let's take the tape off and have a look at it anyway. So does anyone want to send me a picture and share what they did? If you've been painting, you can. I think I had a message from Kathleen and Irene, and I probably missed it. Oh, here we go. She did send me pictures. Okay. Oh, wow. Those are looking cool. Okay. So here's one, and I'm not sure whose that is, but Oh, look at how sweet that is. That must be Kathleen's. That's super sweet. You really went for it. I love it. Look at how sweet that is. Be sure you sign them on the bottom. Right or left side, it doesn't matter. On this one, I'd sign it on the right side, I think. Looks nice. And then let's look at Kathleen, a little extra color. And Irene's is right here. And look at that. Oh, I love it. I love how you put in the hill in the distance and your building shape there on the left. It's very cool. You can add a little more paint to your, add another couple lanterns coming down if you want, or maybe just a fringe on this lantern. And put a second wash on your people. Give them a little legs, little bitty legs. Let me show you what to do, Irene, if you're still there, on your people. Joey D, can I get a spritzer? I'll see if he'll bring me one. Okay, so people. Where did I put my demo? I'll just get a scratch piece of paper and I can show you sort of what I do for my people. So they're kind of just dots and dashes. You can put in, you know, like some head shapes and then throw in, you know, a body shape. Like that. Zoom way in so you can really see it. And then you can kind of take a skinny dry brush or a pointed brush and pick up mostly dry paint if you can and do some just fairly simple legs like that. Some people call them carrots, little carrot people, because they're shaped like carrots. And if you were doing the silhouette of this, you'd just have a head and a body and some legs. So they do kind of look like carrots, and that's how you can finish off, you know, a figure, a loose gestural kind of figure. My paints are Daniel Smith, yes. Oh. Well, let's get that like that. If I go into my burnt sienna, just, you know, fairly thickly, it looks like this. And if I add ultramarine to it, then I get something that looks like this. So the other thing is student grade paints will not have as much pigment in them, so they're not going to get as saturated and dark. So if you're working with student grade pigments, you're gonna have a hard time maybe mixing up, you know, a dark enough color. That's the only thing I can think of, because in an artist grade paint, you know, all the time your ultramarine's gonna be like this, you know, nice and juicy in color. And your, well, here's a burnt umber. Now, this burnt umber, I just have a dried dot of it on my palette, but if I keep mixing with my brush like I'm doing and keep adding, mixing and adding, not adding water, but my brush has water, so my burnt umber looks like that. So you can check your paints to see if they're student grade or artist grade. It should, usually they say. You guess so? Oops. I just about dumped over my, let's go back, there we go. My iPad, and so I don't want to do that, but I guess I should. There we go. Let me take off the other side of the thing, and you can have a little look at it. Well, I'm not entirely happy with the result, but mainly because I'm not excited about these figures again. I'm going to have to study those and figure out a way to fix them for next time. One thing I can do is, you know, I can put a little highlight on the top of the head, on the shoulders, and I can maybe make a few little detailed definitions of things, but maybe they need a little, I don't know, some color variation or some indication of light and dark, darken up one side, lighten the other, just to make them look better. They just don't. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I love the clouds, and I love the rooftops, and I love the Chinese lanterns, and this little red mark here on the building could also be reflected down here into the, but I think I need to push that around a little more. It should maybe come around. And then I could add a tiny bit of that over here as well, possibly. I don't know. Anyway. Well, that's good. So what does anybody have going on for the week? Anything coming up? Exciting? Probably not during COVID, right? Well, I know I'm going to be painting, and I'll be on Twitch on Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to just add a little at 11 a.m. I don't know what I'm going to paint on there yet. I'll probably do a big painting where I stand at my other easel. And I can show you another little one that I did. I have on my easel. Let's see. Oh, Terry, are you still here or are you out? I don't know if she's here or not. It's okay. I think this person looks good with a little more red on there. And maybe I can... I hate to fuss with it too much until I can look at it again. But anyway, so I was going to switch my other camera around so you could see the painting on my easel if you want to see it. Oh, you're still here, Terry. Okay, good. And Terry, now you've got your comments coming on your iPad or whatever you're using, so I'm glad. What is the benefit of Twitch over YouTube? There's no benefit. I just have I follow a few artists on Twitch, and I started streaming on Twitch first, so sometimes I just stream on there instead of YouTube. There's really no reason other than I have some friends that are on there, and sometimes they'll join in. So that's why. Wee wee. Terry says she's still here. Okay. Yeah. So I was going to switch on my other camera. Let's see if I can. There we go. So this is another little cityscape that I did from, oh, it doesn't look very good there, from China. I should put a mat on it so you can see it properly. Why is this so? Oh, there we go. Now you can see it better. Let me tape it up. I have more trouble adjusting these cameras, I swear. There, that's pretty good. It's not exactly done, but I like the looseness of it, so I wanted to show you. You like it, Terry? That's from another photo from China. And you can see that one, this one is much more loose than this one. And I prefer when they look like this. That's much better than this. My figures look stiff. I need to loosen them up and abstract them out a little more. So I'm a little heavy-handed with some of the brush strokes. Anyway. El Curry, you like it. Yeah. I showed some other ones earlier. Now, see, this is another one that I did of the, oh, you can't see it there, of the street scene that we did today. And it's a lot more, it has a little bit more looseness in certain areas. So it's easy to get frustrated when your paintings don't turn out the way you'd like them to, but yeah, the large one does feel nice and airy. Yeah. Yeah. But sometimes, you know, when you're first doing a study and then a sketch, a value study, and then, you know, kind of your first go, you're maybe a little bit tight. Oh, Joe's bringing me a spritzer. Thank you, right there. Thanks, honey. Say hi to everybody. There he is. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Faye. You're going to play pickleball? Okay, cool. Have fun. It was nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Now, this is another one that I did. And I don't know if I did it before the large one or afterwards, but I'll set it over here. This one could use a little bit of help with I got a lot of bright colors going on in there. And to balance off these bright colors here, I should add a few more darks over here on this lady's legs. And then I think I'd have a nice painting. But I really like the how expressive I did, like the roof top with the calligraphy and line work. It's very gestural, and I think that works well. Cheers, everybody. It's a little blurry. If I put my hand in front of the camera, it adjusts. So, and that's why I like standing at my easel and having it in front of me where I can use my whole arm to do big washes. I think I've said this before, but when I paint on this little tabletop in front of me, I'm not as free and I get tightened up, a little more tight. So maybe next week I will stand at my big easel, not my big easel, at my easel, and I'll try to paint that way instead of on the tabletop. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, this one does have a fun look. I just think it needs a little bit more value on the figures there to bring them out, at least the one in the front. So, yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I have to work with this a little bit and see if I can. I think it's a good one for retry July. Paint it again in more of a loose way. Yes, please. Is that for the spritzer? Lanji? Lanji, have you been back to China, to Shanghai or Beijing since you moved here? Yes, those are all from pictures I took in China. It's hard work painting and thinking and planning. I think the best thing to do is to get in your sketchbook and do little thumbnails and then just paint with your mop brushes so that you can't get finicky and fancy and too much detail in the beginning. You just want to put in an underpainting and then put your details on top. Oh, you were planning on going back in May and then you couldn't. Yeah. I have a friend who's a photographer and she got stuck there. She was trying to go all over the place and really got... She was in China and then she was trying to go to Singapore, I think. Or Thailand, maybe. And she would get on an airplane and try to go to one place and they'd say, oh no, you've been in China, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And then she's like, okay, well, I'll quarantine. And then she was on a plane to somewhere else and they're like, oh no, you were just in so-and-so. So, I mean, she finally got to fly back to the States, but it was not easy. So, all right. Well, I think I'm done for painting for the day. Oh, I could show you this one too. This one I did online with a painter from, I think he was Italian or maybe Spanish, I don't know. But they've had so many online demonstrations that this was one through the art in Fabriano. In Fabriano, Italy, they have like an art convention. And this guy painted it online during that, and I guess I painted along with him, I don't remember. But this one was, it got a little bit too heavy in certain areas, but I do like the soft areas. So I can learn a lot from this painting to apply it to my other ones. You know, like here I achieved that nice soft atmospheric look, and on this one in certain areas I did, and I love the graphicness of all these areas over here. This got a little heavy, probably because I couldn't really see what was happening on the on the screen close up. But look at how the clothing pops there off the clothesline, and these areas where all the drama is in that calligraphy and line work. I used to I still get frustrated if I do a bad painting or something doesn't look right, but the reality is that you have to paint things a lot. Some subjects over and over again until you get exactly until you get exactly what you're looking for, and you need to decide early when you make your value sketch and your painting what you're trying to achieve, and then go for it in the painting. And I don't always do it right, but the more you paint, the more it comes naturally. And I was reading through my Instagram posts, and I noticed from Andy Evenson, he said that he probably tears up 8 out of 10 paintings, and he's only happy with one. Well, he's a very good painter, but it made me feel less frustrated because you kind of want them all to turn out, but you have to be honest with yourself and say some of these are they're learning, they're sketches, it's part of becoming familiar with the subject and getting it just the way you want it. And expertise only comes with having done that millions of times. And when I think about the workshops that I've taken with a lot of the artists, some of them, not all of them, but some of them will paint the same, they do the same routine at every workshop, and they've painted that darn painting, that barn with this, with the boat, like 800 million times. So they can do it in their sleep, they can do it free, they can do it gestural, they can do it backwards, forwards, upside down, and it's as natural to them as it is for me to dial up a number on my phone or drink a spritzer. Cheers again, everyone. So if you paint a painting and it doesn't turn out, look at it and figure out, what was I trying to do with my original idea or intention, and why didn't it work? And then say to yourself, this time I'm just going to do, and that's why the sketchbook is so important, because you don't have to worry about ruining, an $8 sheet of watercolor paper. And if you break it down, really, you should be painting, like this is only an eighth of a sheet, but you should be painting on quarter sheet sizes with big brushes to get those gestural strokes that you need. But you can do that after you've done it in your sketchbook a bunch, and then you become familiar with the subject and you go, okay, now I know what I'm aiming for, I know what I need to do, what I shouldn't do, and then go for it on your quarter sheet of paper. Go to pickleball, I thought. Nice to see you. We'll see you again. Good luck at pickleball. That's a good thing I should do that for exercise. Where do you do it at? I should go do pickleball with you. I think you're here in Raleigh, aren't you? Anyway. Okay. Irene and Kathleen, are you still here? Are you still on? I'm just curious. So L. Curry says, that is nice to hear you say, I get frustrated, but trying to keep that in mind. I know, it's very frustrating. You're trying to aim for a certain look, a certain atmosphere, a certain color, and it doesn't happen. And your painting looks like crap. It looks like, you messed up things. Things look glued on and not cohesive, or the shapes or the values are all out of whack. Usually my problem is I do too many shapes. You should always focus on the big shapes and eliminate as much detail as you can. It's easy to say but hard to do. And I've been studying a lot from some of the books that I have in my library, and I really love Edgar Whitney. If you don't know Edgar Whitney, he's like an old watercolor plein air master teacher from the East Coast. He used to take workshops up to Maine every year. And he taught somewhere, maybe in New York. I'm not sure if he taught in New York City or where he taught, but somewhere on the East Coast. And he was very popular. And back in the day, I mean, he was such a guru. He taught and was friends with many of the old guys like Frank Webb and well, let me grab his book. Where's the book? Whitney. Now, I only have one of his books. I'd like to find some more. And I never painted with this guy, but I do have a friend who actually was able to, let me switch the camera, who actually got to study with him. And he was notorious for having his own mind and speaking his mind. How many people do we still have hanging around here? Oh, 6 people. Okay. So, Edgar Whitney was a master teacher, and I love his a lot of what he says. But oh, so here's Frank Webb. Now, I took his class in San Diego, and he's known as a shape maker. So now here's one of his beautiful paintings with the bridge. But see these shapes? And look at this person. Now, I'm complaining about the way my people look, but it's not necessarily the way the people look. It's, do the people match the scene? This guy matches the scene because he's just as rough and ragged as all these other bold brush marks. And this is a good example of using a flat brush instead of a round brush. Yeah. Yeah, Lanji. He's a big deal in the United States, although I don't know if he teaches anymore because he probably is quite old now. He was old when I had him in San Diego like 15 years ago. Yes, he has a very graphic style, and he was trained as a graphic designer. So let me tell you, he was the king of value sketches. He didn't just put these together without a value sketch. And notice how he has kind of a formula that you can learn from. Shapes, more shapes, yes. And you know, there's certain exercises that you can do, and that I should do too. And one is paint around all the white shapes, or paint all the dark shapes, just the dark shapes first. A nice exercise. And then after you've done that, paint it around all your dark shapes, and leaving your whites. Or, I mean, obviously first he put in this big wash first. And uh-oh, my sister says she can't see something. Hold on. You can't see the left page. Okay. Well, the left page is the barn. One of the barns. He does a lot of barns and docks. Let me try to get this. Oops, sorry. Thanks, Terry, for telling me that, because there. Well, it's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but there we go. So, yeah. So he generally did his underpainting first, and he would save the white areas. So all this stuff in the background, especially over here, it's really noticeable. This was his first wash that he put in, and he saved the whites. So he may have had, like, I don't even think he makes a sketch. Like, he's done these things a million times in the workshop. He can just paint around, negative paint around these images. And he does that first wash. And then he goes in with his darks. And, you know, a flat brush, obviously, because of the way everything is angled. And then here's this one. I have to tell you a funny story. when I first moved to Raleigh, I was trying to find some of the social, the places where the painters go to gather and paint. And so I went to the community center over at Sertoma, and I joined their Thursday class where you just show up and paint, and everybody paints whatever they want, and it's kind of nice. But I went into the bathroom to use the bathroom, and on the wall was a Frank Webb painting that he had obviously donated after he probably did a workshop there, who knows when. But I'm like, oh my God, there's a Frank Webb painting in the bathroom. Get that out of there. Someone's going to steal it. It's a real Frank Webb. And it was a nice painting, so hopefully they've moved it. But I'm like, ah! The alarm bell started going off, and I'm like, I can't believe they have a Frank Webb in the ladies' bathroom. It was hysterical. Okay, not hysterical, but... Okay, so there's Frank Webb. And he was very nice to take a workshop from. But he always had a freshly pressed shirt every day that looked like he just got it from the dry cleaner. And I'm like, I wonder how he did that when he was traveling, because he had to travel to get to San Diego. And, I mean, to each his own. But you could tell the kind of guy he was because, because of his pressed shirt. I mean, there was not a wrinkle. It was pressed. It was like military crisp. So anyway, and here's some more of his shape. He's the shape maker. So let's go. Oh, here's another one. Oh, I absolutely love his paintings of the market in Mexico. These are just beautiful. And this is one of the first classes that I took. One of the first. As a new watercolor painter. And I painted the most horrific thing I've ever seen in his class. And I was trying to paint some kind of scene, I think, a picture that I had from Mexico with a tall building, like I don't know what. But it ended up looking like a ketchup bottle. And he said, we were doing the critique, and he goes, oh, Heinz ketchup. And I'm like, oh my God, no. It was horrible. It was just horrible. So, anyway, that was embarrassing. I don't even know if I still have that painting. Most of my paintings, I usually save all of them, because you can look back and see, how you've grown. Well, I have enough paintings to show myself how I've grown, but that one I might have finally ditched or painted over, because probably with like acrylic paint or something, because bad news. But look at this figure. Now this doesn't make any sense at all, as far as, now here's the model sitting way up here, and then way over here. Honestly, that can't be to scale, because this is way too small, even for this situation. But, oh yeah, and Frank Webb was the one who always talks about Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear relationship. So you got your big shape in your painting, and then your medium-sized shape, which is this one, and then your baby bear, which is this one. So that's part of good design. Yeah, he's giant. So obviously, I mean, that's the main thing the painting's about. And this lady is way across the room doing a life study. But here's another Frank Webb. And Frank Webb is famous for doing these. He likes these kind of Mexico market kind of scenes. But look at how loose and graphic they are. I mean, and the color value is right on, and color harmony. Look at how harmonious this is. I mean, if you think about it, technically, he's got yellow and violet, which are two complementary colors. And then value-wise, he's hit the darks up against the lights in every scenario. Dark light, dark light, dark light, dark light. And it's pretty masterful. Minimum brush marks, minimal detail, but lots of impact. You can learn a lot from that. And same thing with this one, the Naomi Boat Club. This is one that the design, I think he would call it checkerboard animation, where you've got all these things jumping around like a checkerboard. Light, dark, and of course the lightest light and the darkest dark is right here by the action. And then masterfully he's got this guy, he's got the boat, the mast here, and then this guy with the boom. No sail, he's just there, he just put the boom in to counteract that diagonal of the mast. There's no sail in there. So what does he say here? All painting is thematic, and here it's rectangles of color. This blocky texture, which is all over the paper, gives unity immediately to the composition. Yes. So it unifies it because it's all the same blockiness. The focal point has many factors working for it. The bright colors, the live figures. Well, I only see one. Oh, maybe there's two figures. Oh, there are two figures. I didn't even see that guy. He doesn't have a head. The two figures. See the arms coming down? The live figures and the many narrow shapes pointing towards it. Right, these things here are pointing towards the center of interest. Here's another figure here, I guess. Or maybe that guy's chopped off head is over here. The narrow shapes pointing towards it, the intersection of the two longer lines, and the strongest value contrast. Notice how the rock shapes are all convex to express their strength and weight. Yeah. Interesting. So you can see how much planning goes into some of these paintings. They always say think a lot, plan a lot, sketch and all that. What does he say? Like a snail, and then paint like a, plan like a snail. I don't know. Paint like a rabbit or whatever. Whitney had a lot of quotes. This whole book is about taking classes with him, all these different artists. Look at this. I guess this is a Whitney one on skies. If the subject matter of the sky is the sky, let it take over. Make the horizon low with little or no detail on the ground so as not to compete with the sky. Conversely, if the point of interest is on the ground, don't make the sky too complex. And you should all know that one already, right? If you've got a lot of action down here, make the sky simple. And if you have a lot of action and the painting is about the sky, then make the simple. Clear skies are always darker and warmer at the top and cooler and lighter at the bottom. All right, well, I think that's about enough for one day. We could go on and on forever. I'm gonna run, not fun. Yeah, okay. Well, it's been fun for me, kiddos. We'll try again next week. I'm gonna paint this again, much more loose and soft and beautiful, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna run, not fun. That's my sister, by the way. So take care, have a good Sunday night, everybody, and we'll see you Tuesday or maybe next Sunday or whenever.